Last week I asked you to pick between Fences and Hidden Figures, and then I watched the Golden Globes, and apparently it's the same movie. Hi everyone, my name is Chris and welcome to Tread Talks. Hidden Figures is based on the true events of the NASA mission to send an astronaut into orbit around the Earth for the first time. It was a pivotal moment in American history that gave us the momentum to eventually beat Russia in the space race. And the hidden figures that most of us probably weren't aware of is the group of brilliant black women that were the brains behind a lot of the operation. Women who had to fight against the barriers of not just their gender, but of color as well. Now, I went into this film with a little bit of skepticism because of my experience with other based-on-a-true-story movies that ended up being just kind of cliché and overly manipulative. But Hidden Figures won me over based on the strength of the performances and the truly important nature of the story. Taraji P. Henson, who I first saw as the mom in the Karate Kid remake, does an excellent job with the core performance of the movie, and it's because of the earnestness of her performance that I was taken from being a detached observer to someone who really believed and felt what she was going through. There's one scene in particular where we are right there with her in a moment of escalating tension and ultimately catharsis, and we feel it, we believe it, and it's the best of what acting can do. But really, most of the major characters struck the right note for me. Kevin Costner does a great job with the gruffy but principled NASA director, and I think it's the type of character that he plays really well at this point in his career. And I also have to say that the soundtrack is excellent. You might expect for a movie set in a particular time in history that they might use music from that period, but it ends up being an original soundtrack made by Pharrell, and it works very well to give the right energy and momentum to the movie. But what pushes this over the edge for me from good to great is the main theme that's woven into the arc of every character's story. Will we simply accept things because it's the way it is, or will we fight to break through even if it means that we have to be the first female black NASA engineer, the first female black NASA supervisor, the first astronaut to orbit the Earth? These are things that happen only when someone is willing to fight for that which is right and that which should be possible. And this is woven into the script in a way that's clear, but that isn't blatant, and it doesn't hit you upside the head with it. Now, in terms of flaws, there are a few scenes earlier on in the movie that feel a little bit clunky because it's trying to establish the characters and give you a lot of information. For me, also, the passage of time wasn't super clear. I couldn't tell whether we were talking about days or weeks or months in between scenes. And I'm sure there are ways that the story deviates from the actual things that happen in real life for the sake of the narrative and the sake of pacing. But overall, these are nitpicks. Well-made films like this, that do justice to its characters and do justice to the story it's trying to tell, need to exist. Because part of the fundamental value of Hollywood films is giving voice to stories that would otherwise be lost or forgotten. And so I thought this was a story worth telling, worth sharing, and worth watching. Okay, so that was Hidden Figures. Next week you get to pick between two movies to decide which one I review. The first is Patriots Day, based on the true story account of the events of the Boston Marathon bombing. And second, we have A Monster Calls, a film adaptation of a fantasy novel about a young boy who's trying to cope with his mom's cancer. So two fun movies apparently for next week. But please leave it in the comments and that'll decide what I watch next week. And in the meantime, thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so right now and have a great day.